Welcome into the Cougar Cast here at the Kokomo Post Sports. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, and the man to my right to start today's show, he is the head cross-country and track and field coach for the men and women at IU Kokomo, Mr. Josh Colvin. Josh, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us here. I really appreciate it.
Josh, you are someone that tackles both sports, cross-country and track and field, for both men and women. That's a challenge, but also an exciting feat as well. What does that mean to you to be the coach of those sports at IUK?
Well, considering I started as a volunteer assistant coach probably about 7-8 years ago and kind of worked my way into being the full-time head cross-country track coach at IUK. It's been a long journey, but it's been a fun journey. I've learned a lot, and trying to understand college athletics. It's a little different than coaching high school or middle school, but it's been one of the most favorite things I've ever done in my life. You know, they tell you to, have fun and then earn money at the same time. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm not getting rich off of this, but I absolutely love what I do. We have some great student athletes on our team, at our school in general. And then my coaching staff is phenomenal, and I couldn't ask for a better set, 3 coaches. And we're just blessed to be here. We're blessed to be in the position we're in. And, coaching cross-country, men and women, track and field, men and women, it's a lot. Yeah. I mean, it does take a full-time position to do that. And really my assistant is a full-time guy, even though he's not a fully employed. We're working on that. If anybody's out there listening, we're working on that. It's great. It keeps us busy. We've been able to go to some fantastic meets. We've gotten to travel all over the country, going to meets and just going to coaching clinics. And I just really appreciate the administration, Tom Norris, and everybody else at IUK that supports us and allows us to do the things we do.
What are some of those differences between coaching in high school? You coached at a few places in high school, track and field, cross the country, to where you're currently at IUK. Yeah,
I think one of the biggest things is, even though you're here to be a student at IUK, I mean, student athlete, student first, it's a lifestyle, running, and so distance runners, I mean, that's kind of what they do all year. Even our shot put throwers, our sprints, jumps, hurdles people, I mean, they are practicing almost year round now. Whereas in high school, a lot of athletes are doing some other different things. And I think from the recruiting standpoint, you have to kind of go where the athletes are. I think when you're in middle school and high school, you're recruiting for the most part, and there's more to it than that. But I think, you put an announcement over the announcement saying, hey, if you want to run cross country, stay after school and sign this piece of paper, and we have to, now sell our school. We have to sell our program, and we try to do it the right way. What I mean by that is what we tell athletes when we are in the recruiting process is exactly what they're getting. We're not trying to oversell the program. This is who we are. We call ourselves a blue collar program. We say that because we don't have an indoor track and field facility to call our own. We don't have an outdoor track and field facility to call our own, but we make it work. We make it work for our athletes, and our athletes feel like college athletes. And I think that we do a really good job, from the administration on down, of ensuring that for our athletes, for sure.
That blue-collar mindset that you guys have, and not having an outdoor, not having an indoor facility, but making it work, that is something that may have come up and been the reason why the men in the IU Twilight finished 8th of 16th, their best finish at the event, and then the women, 7th of 13 teams, highest finish ever at the event. That blue-collar mindset might have gone into these accomplishments over the weekend.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's what we talk about. Like, we have to scratch and claw for everything we get. Our athletes have been working hard. Our cross-country athletes, we started training in June. They worked hard all summer. We went to team camp down at McCormick Creek State Park, and that was really a great time for our team, not only to train, but also to kind of get to know each other. Not only cross country was there, but our throwers and sprinters, jumpers, hurdlers, everybody went down to the camp, and that was just a great, one of my most favorite times of the year. And then just to continue to train through August here, and knowing our first meet's going to be against, I think the men had maybe 6th ranked teams in the nation there. I think the women had 5, or that might be reversed, but we were going against some of the top teams in the entire country. And to know that, we're right there. We're not to the point as we stand right now where we could say, hey, maybe we could be a ranked team on the men and women's side, but we're really, really close. And I think if we can put everything together, we've got some injuries here and there, and just some people that are still, trying to get into, especially our freshmen, into the college running mindset. I think we can probably have the most successful cross-country season we've ever had on both the men and women. And I say that because last year definitely was our most successful cross-country season ever. But already our men have proven that, we just had the fastest combined time 1 through 5 in a race we've ever had. And the women, we can say that for the women, it was the women's really the first official time running 6K. So women have always, in the NAI, have always run 5K for years and years. Every once in a while, you can jump into a 6K. And I think our girls over the past, cross country's been around like 12 years. I think our girls total have run in 2 6K races up until this past weekend. And so, of course, when we have our combined team score, all the girls run 6K, that's their PR, right?
Yeah.
That's the best we've ever done. So, and I think if we, moved all that and converted it to 5K, I think we would probably be really, really close to the best race we've ever had. So, it's awesome because our people that are here are working really, really hard, and they've taken the freshmen in and said, hey, this is how we do things, and we do things, we work hard to get where we are, and I was extremely pleased with both teams' efforts on Friday, and then of course with our transfer Hannah Wells finishing 8th and getting the River States Conference Runner of the Week this week is pretty outstanding as well.
Seems like every week when we talk to either Tom Norris or Heather Hayes a week ago, or soccer coach, esports coach, we hear about someone that's winning an award at the conference level. Hearing that again for cross country, I'm still amazed at the athletes and the caliber of competition that IUK puts out there week after week after week, and it's getting recognized at the conference level all over the place, not just soccer or volleyball. Once again, for cross country. Track and field season's not here yet, but getting that recognition is great for the athletes, but it also, I think, helps morale for the team as well, saying this person can do it, man or woman. I can do it as well.
Yeah, and in cross country may be a little different than maybe soccer and volleyball, because I think they have 2 or 3 awards per week to give out. Defense, offense. We get one runner, men, one women runner win it. So, not taking away from anything else, but when you say she is the runner of the week, it's the best runner that performed that weekend. So, I think that says a lot for sure.
What are some other things? So let's backtrack real quick. You mentioned going to McCormick's Creek for like preseason, kind of like team bonding, also like preseason workouts. Yeah. What goes down at these events?
So like McCormick's Creek, we stay in cabins. They hold about 24 beds each. We got a huge mess hall. So we go down there, and we have 2 men's cabins, 2 women's cabins, and they're sleeping in there. Coaches kind of have their own cabins, and then we obviously are conditioning. So our Coach Gaylor with the throws, they're taking down their portable shot and disc rings that they throw in the back of a truck and get them down there. And Coach Talley with the sprints, jumps, hurdles are, they're doing all kinds of stuff in the playground, sand and whatever they're doing with their workouts. And then Coach Five Coat and I are with the distance group. And, we put in a lot of miles, we do some workouts, but I think the biggest thing is we have a lot of tournaments when we go down there. So we play like a cornhole tournament, a kickball tournament, water pong, and euchre tournament. And so we encourage our athletes to, at least get involved in one or more of those tournaments. We have kind of a traveling trophy for the winning team. At the end of when the tournament's over at the end of the weekend, the cross-country team competes in a Hokum Karam type relay, and there's a trophy that goes along with that. So it's just really, more than anything, it's just team bonding. When you're in high school, you're going to be a senior in high school, you almost know every single person on your team. that you're going to have, maybe a couple incoming freshmen, but some of these athletes, Cyrus, who you'll talk to later, is from Fort Wayne. When he came here, he didn't really know anybody.
Right.
So I think it's a great way for, for each athlete, especially when you don't know a lot of people, like to really get to know the coaches, really get to know the athletes. And I just think it's something that is a lot of high school teams do it with cross country, but we do it with cross country and track and field and have the whole team go. So I just think it's something special for the athletes, and of course the coaches love it as well.
Coach, I really enjoy having you on the show. Do you have any last comments about cross country specifically this season and what your expectations are for the rest of the year?
Well, I think, every meet we go to, right, we want to try to do the best we possibly can, but our end goal is conference. That's kind of our championship. So, high school has, with a tournament, a lot of times they'll have sectional, regional, semi-state, state, and you go to sectional and you maybe don't perform as very well, but maybe good enough to advance to the next level. At conference, you got one shot in cross country, and that is you got to be the winning team, or you got to be on the top 6 individuals on a non-qualifying team. And so, and there's some exceptions, like if we can get 2 teams in the top 30, you might get 2 teams to go to nationals, but that's kind of the goal, is to see how well we can do in conference and then try to take that to nationals. Nationals is in Vancouver, Washington this year. So that's always a great trip to go out there. And we've taken several athletes individually to nationals over the years in both cross country, track and field. From a cross country standpoint, we have never taken an entire team. We've come close on the men's side last couple of years, but not quite get over the hump. So we always talk that conference, we want to perform well. We want to see if we can take a team or how many individuals we can get to nationals. But I think the thing that I'm the most proud of everything we've done the last 7 years that I've been here is last year our men's and women's cross country teams and our men's and women's track and field teams were NAIA all academic, all American teams. Wow. And that was the first time that we've done that with all 4 teams. Yeah. And so, in the end of the day, we want our athletes to go on to be great people in the community. And they have to get good grades and they have to get their degree in the end. So I'm just extremely proud of our teams being able to accomplish that. Just absolutely phenomenal.
Guys, you got to hear a good background, getting in depth with the cross country and track and field teams at IUK from Coach Josh Colvin. Coming up next, we'll get to hear from one of the athletes, one of the young men that runs on the cross country and track and field teams, to hear about his experience and what it means for him to be a part of the IUK athletic department. We are back here at the Cougar Cast here at the Kokomo Post Sports, and sitting to my right is 5th-year senior Cyrus Felger. He's a member of the cross country and track and field teams at IUK. Cyrus, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
Yes, I'm glad that you're here, and we talked earlier. You're from New Haven High School. I was born in Fort Wayne, didn't live there very long, but I always enjoy hearing the connections from people that are from that area. Like, hey, I was born there. Wasn't there very long, but I was actually born in Fort Wayne, so that connection is good. I say all that to say this. New Haven High School, what brought you to IU Kokomo?
So I actually had a friend that was going here from New Haven. Her name is Jocelyn. She was going to school at IU Kokomo. She was like, hey, you should apply. And I was like, whatever. We'll figure it out. So I went on the website, found Coach Colvin's email, shot him an email, sent him my credentials, like, hey, interested in coming on a visit. Went on a visit. It was in the middle of June, I think, so campus was dead. So it wasn't the best experience like that, but other than that, I'm like, okay, this seems like a place I could be here for the next 4 years. So I was like, it's a no-brainer for me. Was able to run, cheap school, good area. So I was all with that.
What caught your eye during that visit that you said, hey, like, even though there's no students on campus, there's enough here for me to see that I know this is where I want to go to college to run?
Yeah, so there wasn't a lot of people on campus, like I said, but a good amount of the team, I seen a good amount of the team that came out to see me and meet me, and I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was a good sense of community. I wanted to feel like I was at home, and they made me feel like that, so.
I venture being here and staying at IUK for a 5th year, knowing you could have graduated, you could have gone on and done whatever you wanted to do. Staying in school another year is special for you, but also it shows a little of commitment and kind of enjoyment with what IUK's cross-country team specifically brings to you.
Yeah, I've had multiple conversations with Coach about this. I feel like I promised him to bring him something to the team, and I feel like we haven't done that yet. So I feel like it's unfinished business. The opportunity presented itself due to COVID, and I couldn't pass it up.
So what kind of brings something to the team? Is that like a trophy at the end of the season?
Yeah, conference championship, make it to nationals as a team, either or, I feel like would be a great a great addition to our program. And that's obviously the goal. It's been the goal for the past 3 years. We've been really close, as Coach alluded to. So it was pretty easy to keep that fire going. We got some unfinished business. So.
Absolutely. I love hearing that, the unfinished business and kind of the things that drive athletes. May it be something that was an individual mishap that happened to them in a sport, or something to where you want to bring something to a coach. Individually, how have things gone for, not individually, past seasons? This meet, the IU Twilight, how did that go for you individually? How did you perform?
So historically, I usually run really bad there.
Okay.
And I don't know why. We used to run there in high school, and that would be like my PR every time. It's a fast course. It's a good course. But I don't know, I just couldn't get over the hump in college. So I ran my fastest time ever there. But me, along with a couple other older guys, been battling some injuries. We're old men over here. These young bucks are running circles around us. But it was tough from that aspect, dealing with a little bit of pain during the race. But I mean, everyone's going through it. You just got to look past it. And I wasn't able to persevere on that day, but historically it was technically my best race there, even though I would have liked a lot more out of myself.
What makes a course a fast course?
So long straights, no hills, curved turns, not like sharp 90-degree turns. I would say that's like what you look for in like that usually would equate to a fast course.
So we heard about the team bonding kind of preseason event at McCormick's Creek State Park, and I was expecting Coach to talk more about the running, the conditioning, things that went on, but he kind of went in depth more about the euchre tournament and I think he said kickball, cornhole, and other things like that. Running is great, but those team bonding events are huge for not just the coach to see his team kind of in a different element, but also for the athletes like yourself that are in a different environment, that are doing something a little bit different, that are meeting people and spending time with people that may be freshmen or transfers that you might not know very well. What did that event and that experience mean for you going into this season?
Yeah, well, I tell the guys all the time before we go out to race, like, hey, don't run for yourself, run for each other, because you're going to give up on yourself. But if I really want to die for this person next to me, I really want to perform for this guy next to me, it's going to happen. So I think that's a big way to, camp's a good way to build on that relationships. And workouts were tough during camp. I mean, he didn't go into them because they were putting us through the ringer, man. We were doing 2-a-days. We're going like 16-mile days. So that part is always the least fun part's the running. Everything else is just a bonus. I mean, it's a good time. It really is.
Dude, so the conditioning, I used to play football in high school, played middle school, high school football. I didn't do 2-a-days until I got to high school. And so it was, you get there at like whatever time, 7 in the morning, practice maybe at 7:30 or 8, and then you have a 2.5, 3 hour practice, a little bit of a break, another 2.5, 3 hour practice, and that was 2 weeks straight. And that was conditioning there. We didn't do that team bonding stuff. We bring in a PS2 or whatever system was out. You bring in a game, you find a screen, TV, you play it. Like, we did that kind of stuff, but it wasn't the team bonding element here. So the team bonding is great. Like, the breaks we had in between practice holes were cool and stuff like that, but the conditioning sucked. I'm not trying to lie to you. I'm not trying to chase anything different. Like, it absolutely sucked. I was a lineman. I was not fast. I was not in shape like you guys are. And so summer conditioning was a little bit different. We had Monday, Wednesday, Friday, an hour of lifting, an hour of running on the track. And I'm like, this ain't me. I don't like this. But I understood how those moments prepared us for the season. We had 9 games in the regular season, a scrimmage at the beginning, then the state tournament. You win, you go on, you lose, you go home. Those conditioning moments that Coach didn't dive into, but you kind of are now, how did that prepare you? And how did that mentally get you in the right mindset for the season?
Well, Coach talks about all the time. We're going to work harder in practice than we do in the meet. And it's just going to be that simple. We're going to have harder days in practice to prepare us for the meet. And so by comparison, those practices will look harder. But, I mean, it just prepares you for the dog days when it's 90 degrees late September for no reason and we got a race to run. So I don't ever take camp for granted. I think it's a great time. Kickball always gets intense. Maybe it's just me, though. I don't know. So I have a good time.
Did your team win?
We did. 2 years in a row, back to back.
I like that. So I'm assuming that you guys can't kick home runs. I don't know if you guys have a fence back there or anything like that.
No. We have some inside the park ones because this is like a wide area for like the tree line, so you kick it back there. But it's kind of hard to kick it far. I feel like the ball is like lopsided on it. It's our Jordan, Coach Five Coat's ball, and he has his own kickball team in town. So he usually brings that ball, and I'm not a big fan of it. I like the smaller, like dodgeball kind ones. But whatever. We make it work. I mean, 2 years in a row, champions. What can I say?
Dude, I wish it could be 3. I really do.
I know.
3 in a row. That's
6
a great
year
trio. I really wish it could. This season, looking forward, we had the IU Twilight, kind of looked at that a little bit. You don't normally run well there, but it sounds like what you did this year. What are your kind of personal goals or expectations moving forward?
Yeah, I think so personally, PRing that's always a goal, but feeling like I'm progressing is also a goal. I think that's one of the most addicting things about this sport is, you'll do a run and then you're like, wow, that was pretty tough, and 2 months later do the same run, like, okay, I felt great. So like seeing that progression, seeing yourself getting better has always been like one of the most attractive things to this sport. I mean, it sucks at the end of the day. It's hard. It's you get up and it's 90 degrees in the summer, and it's like, oh, I got to go get 10 miles in, and that's never fun. But yeah, it's just about that persevering through the struggle and just trying to get better and seeing yourself getting better that always pulls me back in.
What is the ideal running weather for you?
Yeah, I'd say I think about this all the time. 50 degrees, cloudy, no wind, perfect, right there.
So I mentioned that earlier, Coach and I, before he came on, we were discussing the weather and just small talk. And I was like, it's cooling off a little bit. I like it warmer, but he says runners like it a little bit cooler. I used to do a little bit of running myself. Like I'm not, like it was a long time ago. I want to get back into it, but it's difficult just for more mentals and physical ability, being able to get back to where I used to be. But my fastest times were when it was cooler outside. Actually, my fastest time at one event was actually when it was really, really cold. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't like cold weather.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the details or like the science or like why in the world that this works better for runners to run when it's cooler, but it does. What about that 50 degrees, cloudy, no wind? What about that puts you in the mood or helps you run maybe your fastest time ever?
Personally, I feel it's kind of gloomy out, and I can really like get into like that hate the world mindset, and just you're just running. It's really a battle against yourself at the end of the day. I mean, you got guys next to you, but it's very easy to get tunnel vision. Just like look for like, wow, I'm struggling right now. So that internal battle, I look up, cloudy, it's cold, or not exactly cold, but it's getting there, it's brisk, and just feeling like that just keeps me going. I feel like it's easy to keep going, especially when it's not. In comparison to when it's like 95 degrees and you're sweating, and it's just brutal. So by comparison, I feel like anyone would rather run in the colder weather.
Yeah. Cyrus, do you have any last comments about IUK, maybe why you came back? We dive into that a little bit more, or about anything with the cross-country team this season that we haven't touched on yet?
I just like to say I'm so thankful for Coach Colvin giving me an opportunity to do this. He could have very well ignored my email. But he didn't. He reached out, and I'm here, and I'm thankful and blessed to have been here past 4 years, going on to the 5th one. And to everyone watching, just know that we're coming. IUK, Kokomo, cross country is coming. And that's all I have.
You heard it here, guys. This has been the Cougar Cast here at the Kokomo Post Sports. We'll see you next week.